Good day to you all. I am Sagas, son of Thorkel, and welcome once more to Northworthy Sagas and Stories. The story I'm about to tell is one from Northumbria, the great Anglo-Saxon kingdom up in the north. And it was divided into two sub-kingdoms, Deira, around the Vale of York, and then Benicia, stretching way up eventually as far north as Edinburgh. However, in the early years of Northumbrian history, then the kingdom of Benicia was still being won, and it was one of their great ancient kings, Ida, who, it's said, took the fortress of Bamburgh by the coast. And it's there, at Bamburgh, on the rock, that Ida had his stronghold, not far away from Lindisfarne, the Holy Island. If you haven't heard the poem of Lindisfarne describing the events of many years later, then please watch it. Now, of course, there's a tale after the time of Ida in the 6th century AD, when the king had become an old man, and he sat there in his great hall with his children. His son, a great warrior called Wind, and his sister, Merigriot, whose name means pearl. And they were happy. However, the king, he missed his wife. For many years they'd loved each other, had a very happy marriage. However, sadly, she had died. And in the years after, the king had come to miss companionship more and more. Now, as time went on, Wind, the warrior prince, he set forth overseas to earn a name and a reputation for himself, to win renown by great feats of martial prowess. And so he was away for a few years. And in the meantime, well, one day when the king was out hunting, he came across a lady of impeccable pedigree out in the woods, of great beauty. He quickly became enamored of her. And then, in due course, he took her home to be his bride. And when he brought his new queen home to Bamburgh, the Princess Merigriot, she was there with the keys. She had become the key holder, but now she passed them over to her new stepmother. And the retainers of the new queen, they were astonished by the beauty of Merigriot. Never, they said, had they heard of a mortal princess as fair or as beauteous as the one here in Northumbria. However, upon hearing these words, her stepmother was not pleased, and she resolved to do away with her new stepdaughter. And so, as soon as she'd settled in, she quickly set to work, devising all kinds of arcane enchantments. And after invoking all kinds of deities, demons, and spell binding, by the morning, the servants of the princess had a very nasty surprise, because when they opened the door to the princess's bower, they found a loathsome worm, a dragon, coiled up where the princess should be found. And immediately it slithered out, away from the fortress, out into the countryside, until not far away, it wound itself around the spindle stone. Spindle stone how? And, well, from that point on, it became a menace. It menaced both people and livestock, and began to eat pigs, goats, sheep, cows, even horses. Now the local people, of course, they weren't happy about this, and they went to consult a wise man. They found him, alone, in his house, with a trance platform next to it. Now this man, he was skilled in all masses of augury. He could tell signs and portents from the way the sun, the moon, the stars moved in the sky, from the flight of birds or the movements of animals out in the wild. And after some thought, he told them that the only way that the worm could be silenced, for at least for a while, was if they put aside 7 kine, 7 cows, milked them at sunset every day, and poured them into the great stone trough at the bottom of the spindle stone. That would allay its great hunger for flesh, at least for a while. But the only way that the worm could be restored to human form would be if its own brother were to kiss it 3 times. And, well, who knows when that might happen. However, across the seas, word reached the ears of Wind, the great warrior hero, of what had befallen the fortress of Bamburgh, and the worm that had come to menace it. Therefore, he put together a crew of stout men, 33 in all, and they built themselves a long-keeled ship. In fact, the keel itself was made of rowan, and they set forth out on the waves, and it wasn't long before they started to reach the Northumbrian coastline. However, the Witch Queen saw them coming, and she sent Nikor's sea serpents to attack their vessel. However, because of the rowan, its properties deterred the serpents, and so their assault was in vain. Now Wind and his men, they would have landed, but the Queen used her magic, and she caused the worm to slither down to the seashore. Time after time it repelled the sailors, and so they were obliged to go further up the coast, where they eventually set ashore in a small creek. And so Wind and his men, with their bows and their swords ready, they came to the place where the worm lay, wrapped once more around the spindle stone. And thereupon, Wind had his sword raised, ready to strike. But then he heard the words of his sister, and she implored him to kiss him, no matter how loathsome and poisonous she appeared to be. And this he did. He kissed her once, but nothing happened. Once more he heard his sister's voice, begging him to kiss her, or she would forever be confined to the serpent shape. He kissed her again. Once more she pleaded. Once more he kissed her. And at that moment, her human shape was restored. Now Wind, the heroic prince, Merigriot, his sister, they went to the hall at Bamburgh, confronted the witch queen. And she knew now that her fate was upon her. And Wind had with him a sprig of rowan. He reached out and touched his stepmother with it. And at that moment, she changed into a loathsome toad that hopped out of the hall, out of the fortress gate, and down the rock on which that stronghold was built, into a cave. And after that, the royal family of Bamburgh, there in Northumbria, they lived well and happily. However, it's said that that loathsome toad is still there. And if you go there, if you're a hero and you have the sword and the horn of Wind, the warrior prince, with you, then every 7th Christmas Eve, if you unsheathe the sword 3 times, blow upon the horn thrice, the door of the cave will open, and if you kiss the loathsome toad, then the witch queen will once more regain her human form as well. But for now, that's the end of the story. Thank you all very much for listening, and please click on the notification bell. Thank you.